to food theory. Parents just don't get it. We theorize what we like. Now, I started this channel as a way to tackle the big questions in the world of food. Is a hot dog a sandwich? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? Does Chuck E. Cheese actually recycle its pizza? And does every 90s kid who ever ate cereal in a heavily graffitied alleyway knows there's no bigger unanswered food question than this?
We named it Applejack. Shouldn't it taste like, well, apple?
That's right. Today, food theory is finally answering the question that's been lingering since Apple Jacks was introduced back in 1965. What does it taste like? Now, since the very beginning, Apple Jacks has said that its cereal is a claim that they still make today, both in commercials and on the box itself. But as their famous ad campaign from the mid-90s points out, cinnamon and apple aren't the flavors that actually stand out when they hit your taste buds.
I don't get why you like a cereal called Apple Jacks that doesn't taste like apple.
Wait a while. Yeah.
Okay, geniuses. Why? Good answer.
See, the net taste of Applejack cereal is something unique, something that's immediately recognizable but difficult to put your finger on. Decades later, we still don't have ourselves a definitive answer until today. Because food theory discovered a new way to approach this conundrum, and it all begins with acknowledging that Applejacks is actually a different cereal. You heard that right. I'm saying Applejacks is not really Apple Jacks. Follow me on this. Let's start by talking about Kellogg's Corn Flakes, a cereal that's been around since the 1890s. Over the years, Kellogg's has tried a few different varieties of Corn Flakes, including a sugar-frosted version in 1952 that's today marketed to kids as Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. In your part of the world, you may also know them as Frosties, Zucaritas, Sucralose, Corn Frosty, or Corn Frost. Now, as you might suspect, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and Kellogg's Corn Flakes are the same cereal, aside from the fact that one has an added sugar coating and the other does not. This is all to say that a freshly toasted baby cornflake in the factory might wind up in either a cornflake box or a Frosted Flakes box, depending on which assembly line it gets assigned to. A comparison of the two cereals' listed ingredients also confirms this. Milled corn, sugar, sugar, malt flavor, salt, salt. And get this, not only are Corn Flakes and Frosted Flakes' listed ingredients, minerals, and vitamins identical, but they're also listed in the exact same order. That's important because, as the International Food Additives Council explains, quote, food labels are required to list all ingredients contained in the food in descending order based on the amount found in the final product. That is to say, if sugar is listed ahead of malt flavor, that means the food product contains more sugar than malt flavor by weight. So in this way, food labels allow us to compare ingredient amounts relative to each other. So why the heck am I rambling about Corn Flakes and Frosted Flakes when this episode is supposed to be about Apple Jacks? Well, hold on to your alphabets for a second, because here's the thing that for some reason nobody is talking about. Apple Jacks are Fruit Loops with an extra step. Exactly the way Frosted Flakes are Corn Flakes with an extra step. I mean, look at the two cereals side by side. Wake up, sheeple. They're the same size and shape. They're the same shade of orange. They're the same shade of green. They're both Kellogg's cereals. If it weren't for the little specks of red, I defy anyone to try and tell them apart. And when we compare the listed ingredients of both cereals, it's like deja vu all over again. We see that every major ingredient in the two cereals is identical and listed in the identical order. As we get toward the end of the list, among the ingredients that constitute 2% or less of the cereal by weight, we do get a few differences. The colors, for example, are listed in different orders. This, of course, is to be expected because Fruit Loops cereal pieces come in a wider variety of colors than Apple Jacks. But coloring aside, it's clear that Fruit Loops is the base cereal, and any orange or green Fruit Loop pieces may be destined to one day become Apple Jacks once they receive an extra coating with red speckles that make them taste different. The fact that Fruit Loops were introduced a couple years before Apple Jacks came along also supports this theory. See, there is no listed ingredient in Fruit Loops that doesn't also appear in Apple Jacks. Keep in mind, maltodextrin, a flavorless binding agent, is sometimes listed as modified cornstarch and is also found in modified food starch. So, despite that discrepancy in terminology, that ingredient is actually shared by both of these cereals. Furthermore, food distributors have some leeway to decide how to list out their ingredients. For instance, while modified cornstarch is only listed on the Apple Jacks label, that ingredient may very well be present in Fruit Loops under modified food starch. A catch catch-all term that does include modified cornstarch. But enough about the ingredients shared by both cereals. The ingredients of interest here are the ones that appear only on the Apple Jacks label: dried apples, apple juice concentrate, cornstarch, cinnamon, wheat starch, baking soda. Now, cornstarch and wheat starch are mostly flavorless, used to add texture more than taste. So basically, in the end, the ingredients that differentiate the taste of Apple Jacks from the taste of Fruit Loops are apple and cinnamon, just like the box suggests. And so this must be why the flavor of Apple Jacks is so difficult to pin down. It's a complex mix of flavors. Not only does Apple Jack cereal taste like apple, not only does it taste like cinnamon, but it also tastes like Fruit Loops, specifically the orange-colored ones and also the green-colored ones, ever since green Apple Jack pieces were added in 1998. I mean, that's a lot of different fruit flavors competing for your taste buds' attention, because as we all know, orange-colored Fruit Loops are orange-flavored and green-colored Fruit Loops are lime-flavored, right? I mean, sure, the label just says natural flavors, so we can't really verify that in any way, but still, there are oranges and limes plastered all over